Are we going to have the smell of rubber?
Ms. Thomas, I believe you're trying to get to how much pollution this plant's going to be emitting? Is that what you're talking about on the biomass?
No.
Well, why would you, if that's a combustion material, then whatever the combustion material is going to be, he's going to have to satisfy all the DNR requirements for pollution. It doesn't matter what the biomass is if he's not polluting, does it?
Yes, it does, because it depends on what it is that you're going to be shipping in the rail cars and whether or not the rail cars are going to be covered or not. Because it's our air, it's our kids that are going to be breathing this air.
Those trains are not covered now. There's coal that goes through our town every day. I don't even know, I couldn't even have how many trains go by. I have coal that are not covered.
But they're not loading and unloading.
They go through our town on both sets of railroads every day. We talk about the dust getting from the coal station.
Are you unloading it here?
No, we're not. I'm just telling you, it's not covered now.
But that's my point, it's not being dumped. And they're not running 24/7.
We are running 24/7.
They're not continuously, 2 trains a day
I
is
live
not.
there, and yes, they are. Continuous, 24 hours.
There's a train coming through this town at all hours of the day. You know, what it conveys is, different for each train. But they supply coal down to Rush Island, I know.
And you get sandblasted when you go by there.
Mayor, my question was concerning the sunshine law.
Do you speak up?
Okay, my question is concerning the sunshine law. We have numerously asked for information concerning Wings and a railroad company. Nothing. Tonight, we hear that there is communication. Now, you tell me why we haven't got it.
What communication are you talking about?
We have asked for any communication between the city, Wings, railroad departments, and we've got none. Mr. Kennedy just admitted there is.
They gave you received a letter stating how, at the date and time that we were going to get all the information together for you. You haven't gotten it yet.
It's been requested at least 3 times prior.
Well, what's on here, what we have letters and what have been remitted back to you in letters, and the dates that you're going to get it, the things that are requested on there are still being gathered together.
Okay, what about the minutes of the October 15th minutes of the October 15th meeting that has never been approved?
Therefore, we can't get the copy.
We can't get minutes of something that hasn't been approved.
You can't get minutes because it was a closed meeting carried for litigation.
I can't hear you.
That was a closed meeting for litigation with our attorneys.
And Kennedy was here too.
Why?
What litigation is he involved in?
There were numerous parties, there was a 5-hour meeting.
Yeah.
There were numerous parties that were called in at different periods of time during that 5-hour meeting, because at the previous meeting, if you all recall and you have it recorded, there were numerous questions that were asked, and they were asked of those parties.
And you believe them.
So what are the answers?
Mr. Sinkle, you are now the city's attorney. Are you telling me that that information cannot be released to the public?
What I'm suggesting, Mr. Guestberg, is that there was a closed executive session in which Mr. Moonier, myself, Mr. Howard of my office, appeared with the city council and discussed many issues regarding potential litigation that could arise from various different actions of the city and the directions which the city went. At various times during that meeting, for very brief durations, different people were asked to come in to address these very specific questions. In particular, Mr. Kennedy was here with his attorney because there is a question: if the city went in a particular direction, took particular action, was the city risking potential litigation and not fulfilling its obligation of good faith in proceeding with the lease agreement that had been entered into? That meeting was very, very limited, although it was lengthy, was very, very limited in the issues and the topics discussed. At this time, I do not believe the minutes of that meeting can be made public because of the attorney-client privilege and because of the potential litigation issues that were raised.
But don't we all know that you can sue the city if they back out? Is that a big secret?
Sir, there's many things that you may suspect to be not be a secret. The question is, if those minutes were to be made public, does the city risk having my counsel and my advice to them be made public and that become Exhibit A in the lawsuit?
Doesn't matter, we don't care about you.
So will they ever?
Sunshine laws cover car associations, not public.
Those minutes may become public at a subsequent time if the issues raised there are no longer an issue in any way, shape, or form. But at this point in time, the issues that were discussed in that meeting are very real, they're very live, and they're very much at issue for the city at this time. The ordinances have been passed. The sales agreement has been signed. It has not been closed. As the mayor and the city clerk have shared with you, we are in due diligence at this time. And I would take one brief exception with some matters that the clerk suggested or shared with you. At this time, there is communication between our office and counsel, outside counsel for PPG. There are many issues being raised at this time. We have not yet finalized a response on behalf of the city regarding whether any exceptions will be raised, what are called title exceptions will be raised prior to the deadline, which is later this month. There is correspondence between my office and the city, which at this time is extremely confidential because, it relates to the possibility of if the city takes certain actions, could that involve the city in litigation? And we must be prudent in that regard.
That should be an open discussion.
Ma'am, I will acknowledge you just as soon as this gentleman gets done. Thank you.
First of all, I don't have a voice that carries, so I want to apologize for that. I don't have anything prepared. I just decided to come here to skip the football game at the last minute and to come here because I'll be the first to admit that I'm just a citizen who's largely ignorant of this issue and was hoping to get some answers here tonight. And I must say I'm deeply disturbed from what I've heard, or lack of what I've heard. My main question is, when we're living under the shadow of the only lead smelter in the nation, and we have to have our vehicles emission tested every year or two, how can we afford another polluter in this county? I have great sympathy for the lady who spoke earlier, but this issue concerns more than one household. You know, like I said, I skipped the football game tonight, which seems to me is in direct line of fire of this issue. You know, do you care about your citizens' concerns?
Absolutely, I do, sir.
Are you going to get any of our questions answered?
Yes, sir, we will.
How about taking the time and writing down at least one of our questions? I haven't seen anybody do that tonight.